and how yoga and Qigong work is to think of the body as a pattern. It's a pattern, it's a flow. And both the ancient Chinese as well as the ancient Vedic culture or from India knew that the body is infused and surrounded by a field of energy known by the Chinese as Qi and by the East Indians as prana. So both of these practices, even though they originated in different cultures, they have a lot of parallels. They're very similar. They're based on the regulation of these flows. If the flows, both internal and around the body, if they were discordant or chaotic, then that would result in a decrease in energy, and over time, if that low energy was maintained or that chaotic field was maintained, then eventually illness of the actual physical body would set in. So it actually makes a lot of sense, even when we look at it through the lens of modern science. We know that a coherent field preserves energy, it contains energy. And if it becomes very coherent, like a laser, it actually emits energy. And a chaotic field has a lot of distortion and chaos and incoherence. And we see this in the lower emotional states, in the violent emotional states. Those states of consciousness represent incoherent patterns of energy. And those patterns maintained over time will constitute a major energy leak and will end up in illness of the physical body eventually. This is why it's so important to take care of your emotional health, your mental and emotional health, in order to have robust physical health. If you can catch your imbalances when they're at the emotional level and treat them there, then you are well on your road to rehabbing a current illness and or preventing an illness. Both yoga and Qigong offer us comprehensive practices to keep our energies flowing in harmonic and coherent patterns. We know this even experientially because we feel good after we do yoga. We feel good because our energies are coherent, it feels smooth. Those patterns are associated with positive emotional states, and they're associated with states that we can increase energy, that we are increasing our energy. It's just like being around certain people. You know that when you're around certain people, you feel drained. So you tend to want to avoid those people. Conversely, certain other people, you feel really good, and you tend to want to be around those people. What you are picking up on without even realizing it is the quality of the energy that they have coursing in and through and around their body, and it's affecting you just by being in proximity. So yoga and Qigong are one of the best ways to create these harmonious, natural, symmetrical fields, the same fields that are found in a rose, in a pine cone, in a crashing wave, in the phi ratio. These patterns are well known. So I hope that this short video helped to make that more understandable and to help people understand why in Qigong it's not just people standing there waving their arms around. You're literally creating currents around you. And as you do these things with your arms in Qigong, that pattern is being mimicked in the microcosm. It's actually being mimicked in each cell. Every cell is going like this. So we'll talk about this more in a more practical video, But for now, I just wanted to make this brief commentary about how and why yoga and Qigong actually works to help you feel better. Namaste. In addition, the ancient Indian and Chinese cultures never regarded the outer space around us as empty, but rather as full of a source of energy known as prana in India and Qi in China. And the field of emptiness, which is not really empty, was seen as full of packets of energy and information that can be harvested and taken into the body in a process known as charging the body, which is done through the breath and through the movements and through the intention. If you have an abundance of this prana or this qi, you have the basic energy to render your physical vehicle a self-healing mechanism. The reason that the body doesn't heal itself is not because it can't, it's because it lacks energy. If you cut your finger and if you keep it clean and do nothing else, it will heal. The body is a self-healing mechanism. It's the same way with a dis-ease or anything else. People don't heal because they're in a state of entropy, which is a state of chaos or incoherence. In other words, they're leaking. They're leaking with their thoughts, with their emotions. They're leaking through their unconscious mind. Another point is that according to contemporary science, our senses only apprehend a minute fraction of the electromagnetic spectrum of what exists. So what the Indians knew as the Akash, which is space, is actually a vast field of energy information that can be known, is known by those with clairvoyant or extrasensory perception. Yoga and Qigong cultivate the realization of the non-physical, the cultivation of the subtle senses, the cultivation of the senses beyond hearing, sight, smell, touch, and taste. So if you wish to gather energy for healing and or self-expansion and or awakening into non-physical realms of your being, then yoga and Qigong are your friends. Namaste.